Sometimes it seems like Louisville lacks a vision for the future, but I know it's got plenty of smart people to help us find one. People like John Drees. A lifelong resident of southwest Jefferson County, John works at U of L, where I met him to ask what he thinks our Louisville could be. I'm here on the U of L campus with John Drees. John, tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right, I am the Senior Associate Vice President for Communications and Marketing. I've been at the University of Louisville for 36 years. I am also a lifelong resident of southwest Jefferson County. Live, as they would say, within spitting distance of the Waverly Sanatorium and Bobby Nichols Golf Course, and not too far from the Jefferson County Forest.
That's great. And from that perspective, being deeply planted in the community, how do you feel like Louisville is doing?
The southwestern part of the city of Metro Louisville has a long history of feeling neglected. They feel like they're not listened to. They feel like they get the scraps at the end of the meal. And again, I think this is more perception than reality. But I think if the city wants to improve its relationship with that part of the county, and let's face it, that's a huge part of the county population-wise, the city needs to show them some love and let them know that they're part of the bigger ecosystem that is Louisville.
Yeah. If you think about kind of an economic development question, but a little more than that, if you could move a single company or organization to Louisville from outside, what would it be?
Let's face it, the service industry is where things are always going to continue to grow. I would love to see somebody in high tech or financial services, something like that.
If you were identifying or creating Louisville's story for the future, is it better for us to be known as a northern or a southern city?
I like to say Louisville's the best of both worlds. I think that there is a degree of southern hospitality here. There is a friendliness here that my friends who live in the north always comment on when they're here. I also think there is some sort of sophistication, whether it's in the arts, that sort of thing, that I think you would identify more from the north. But we can't give up sweet tea. That's the biggie. Don't give up sweet tea.
I'm going to ask you a Louisville question, which you may be able to guess is, where did you go to high school?
The Louisville question, right?
Yeah.
I am a proud graduate of Pleasure Ridge Park High School, home of the Fighting Panthers. Yeah, I'm absolutely proud of that.
Yeah. So do you think if Louisville were a city that were growing faster, would it be a good thing or a bad thing that we ask that the Louisville question is, where did you go to high school?
Well, I think the high school question, I don't understand why that's such a big deal to people. But it is one that's asked all the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because people from out of town constantly comment on that. Why on earth do you care where I went to high school? But for locals, I guess it makes a difference. I don't know. I'm not bothered by it. Frankly, I don't give it a second thought.
You talked about something that you felt was true in the South End, but also maybe for the city as well, a kind of inferiority complex. Can you say a little more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll use a colloquialism from my mother. Louisville and the South End, both in my opinion, discourage getting too big for your britches. And I think sometimes bragging too much about yourself in their eyes is seen as showing off or trying to portray yourself as better than you are. And I think that's something that's frowned upon. And then the flip side of that is that then people say, well, we don't get enough recognition. Nobody pays attention to us. So U of L is a perfect example, okay? 35 years ago, U of L was primarily gravel parking lots, primarily a commuter school. lots of night classes, very little social life. And over the past couple of decades, the university has changed. It's now considered and ranked as the most beautiful campus in the state. It is a place thriving. There's 7,000 students that live around campus now. So yeah, you can change. I think it takes a commitment. I think it takes a real focus. And I think the city of Louisville could learn some lessons from U of L.
I agree.